in the talk before. What does cut mean? Heart. Very good. Cut means heart. Purn jot jaga kat mein. That person is a Khalsa who has the complete light of God shining in their insides. That is a Khalsa. Tab khalis nahi tahi na khalis chana. This is a spiritual side. Okay? This is a spiritual element to it. Otherwise, that person is not my Khalsa, the Guru says. So there is a deeper spiritual element to the idea of being initiated. But obviously, we start from somewhere, right? We start from somewhere. I started from somewhere, and I'm not saying I made it anywhere, but I made it to have your darshan, the Sangat's darshan. I made it to have your Sangat. Anji.
Next question.
Who's the first one to invent, or who's the first one to speak Punjabi?
The first person ever to speak Punjabi? Oh man, I'll tell you the truth, I don't know the answer to that. It's probably really old.
There's a lot of books on the subject of where Punjabis come from. You can. They're not in English though, but it's an evolving subject. It's not fully the scholarship behind that subject is still evolving to this date. It's not fully answered, but it is. It could be very old. But it's the transition of what we see Gurmukhi letters, and that's done by the Gurus.
I'm a college student at UT Dallas, and my question was, so I have a lot of work and stress, so when should I do Simran, at what time, so I can get rid of that, so I can be more clear-minded?
Yeah, VG, it's actually a really common question from college students, and it normally comes down to, hey, I've got a lot going on, I don't actually have time for Simran. And I was actually talking to Supreet about this today, where I was like, I think it's a weird concept that we have that, hey, I don't have the time for Simran, because, Guru Granth Sahib Ji over and over says that when you do Naam Simran, I make your days easier. You don't have to go through as much challenges. Karke Naam japan de naal karm kat hunde hai. Right? I've honestly had tests in college where, due to unforeseen situations, I was not able to study. Sat down, started doing my Naam Simran and Bani, and I honestly, I haven't even kept my case at that time. Did Naam Simran, Bani, did Nadas to Maharaj, and literally where I studied, what pages that I just, happened to occur on, I guess, were the only parts that were on the test. And this didn't happen once or twice, it happened multiple times. Not oh, don't study, just do Naam Simran and that's it. It's more if you end up in that situation, right? The reason I give that example is, we make life more difficult when we say, Guru Sahib, you're second, let me just go and deal with these problems on my own. Now, to get to your question, which is, okay, then when should I do it? I think that's based on your schedule. The best time to do it, generally, if you're starting to kind of get into Sikhi and get into Naam, there's 3 best times, especially in college. 1, soon as you wake up. Soon as you wake up, 5 minutes, knock it out. 2, before you go to sleep. When you're tired, make this habit of pretending as if you're putting your head in the lap of, you choose, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Mata Sahib Kaur Ji, whoever you resonate with, and that you're falling to sleep while saying Waheguru in their lap. The third, which really worked for me when I was first getting into Sikhi in college, was after classes, when I knew I was going to walk back to the dorms or when I was going to leave campus, I would find a spot to just go sit there and take that small break from when you're finishing your day to when you're about to start the next chapter of your day, and just try to do some Naam Simran. Have you tried those things in the past?
Yeah, when I sleep, I put on Simran.
And how does that help?
It helps me sleep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what were you trying to look for?
It calms my mind down. It's I don't know, it's super calming and it makes me really focus.
Yeah.
And
so what were you
giving up my ego to God, it helps me focus more on everything.
That's awesome. What made you ask this question? What were you hoping to learn from it?
I just want to know what time. That's what I wanted to know.
The best time, if you're trying to challenge yourself,
yeah,
the best time is Amrit Vela.
Okay.
That's before sunrise. Yeah? The world is shant, your mind and body are shant. Just put a glass of water in front of you if you want to try it out, and just start doing Nam Simran. When you finish your 5, 10, 15 minutes in the morning, before anything and anyone is up, drink that glass of water, it'll feel like the sweetest thing you've ever tasted. Yeah? From there, you can start incorporating different baniya and times into your day. So before you go to sleep, maybe you now listen to Kirtan Sohela, and then you put on Nam Simran. In the morning, then you can add Jopei Saab. You can, so just like that, you just start like grabbing smaller things and adding it into different compartments of your day.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Great.
It was a bit of an add-on to that question, or like a comment. Whenever I get up at Amrit Phila, I just go back to sleep.
Yeah, same man.
So my question was, what made Sikhi? How was Sikhi invented? And why is there Sikhi today? Like Sikhi or Khalsa?
Let me ask you something. Why? Why do you want to know that?
It kind of reminds me of when we were doing speech, we were learning about Sikhi and stuff. I just kind of wanted to learn more and stuff. So yeah.
The way I would look at that question is, why was Sikhi invented? Why is Sikhi here? What was the third one? Why does it still exist? So the words of Guru Nanak, he says, and we were talking about this in the car, which means that falsehood will diminish and the truth will prevail. The ultimate thing that will prevail in this world is the truth. Look at it as a human progression timeline. We started the caveman period, right, as humans. We progressed from there, right? We had tribal communities. We progressed from there, and we keep progressing. The words of the Guru are what we call Gurmat. The Guru's words, the Guru's teachings is for us the ultimate truth of life. It is what the world is progressing towards. So Sikhi is invented because it's the truth. Why is Sikhi here? Because it's the truth, and whatever is the truth will stay. No matter how much someone tries to diminish it, it will pop right back up. Guru's teachings are the ultimate truth, and that is what Sikhi is. Sikhi is the Guru's words. There is no Sikhi without Gurbani. That makes sense. There is no Sikh without Gurbani. Gurbani is Sikhi. And Gurbani is here today because these words carry truth. They carried truth in 1469, they carry truth today, they're still relevant today. They'll still speak the human truth, the human experience.
There's light and darkness in the world. When the darkness got to be too much, Guru Nanak Dev Ji came to help the world. Sikhi stays to be that light, to keep serving the world. Next question.
By the way, until the next question happens, when Virji was asking his question, I just remember my college days.
I have a question.
It was so nostalgic. I remember doing Simran in college. It was the best experience ever because I found Simran and specifically Amrit Vela in college. So I was a normal college student, and then one day I, was going through some stuff in college, like a normal college kid does. I came home, pretty sad, and I opened up YouTube to look for Kirtan, and I typed in Bhai Harjinder Singh, Srinagar Wale. That was my go-to at that time, right? Just typed it in, and that was always my thing since I was a little child. One thing that my mom taught me was, she gave me like a radio player, and there was a cassette in there. I don't know if you guys know what cassettes are. They were just like, with like a memory card or whatever of those days. There was a cassette in there which had Kirtan inside it, recorded, right? So whenever I would have a nightmare, I would wake up in the middle of the night. I'll try to bother my parents, and my parents would be like, "Go away," kind of thing, right? You're old enough to deal with this on your own, and I'll just go to find that cassette player, and I'll play the Kirtan, and it'll help me sleep. So I always had this thing. So I was in college, I came home, I was going through something, and I looked for Kirtan online, and on came by Jagrat Singh. He was one of the very first English speaking prachariks, and this is back in 2012, and so that's 12 years ago now.
Yikes.
12 years ago. And when he spoke, and he spoke something really, he changed my life, right? When he spoke, he was like, hey, if you have a kada on your hands and you have a khanda in your room, you got to wake up in the morning. And I was like, wow, no one ever told me that. So I was like, okay, what do I do in the morning? He's like, you sit there and you call God. I was like, how do you call God? And he's like, you just chant, Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. I was like, all right, it sounds pretty simple enough. Let me try it out, right? And as a college kid, you want to try different things. So I woke up at the next morning, put my alarm on my phone, on my iPhone. I woke up and I sat there and I chanted. You know, I said, Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what I was doing, but something in my mind, something in my heart said, do it again. You know, the first day, all I got was this internal response of saying, do it again. I woke up the next morning, again, of Amrit Vela, and I did the Simran again. And this time I felt like I found a door. I'm just giving you a understanding. It's obviously wasn't like a real door. I'm just kind of explaining in physical terms. I felt like I found a door, but it was closed. I was like, you know what? This feels like I'm getting somewhere. Let me try it again. The next morning I woke up at Amrit Vela again and early morning, and I did Simran again. And this time I felt like I found the doorknob, but it was still closed. The next day, I did Simran and that door swung open. And when that door opened, I just felt so much love. I felt so much light, divine light. And all I remember is that I was just crying. I was crying, tears were falling out of my eyes, and I'm like, there's a little voice in my head like asking, why am I crying? But it feels so good. It felt so good. It felt so relieving. It felt like everything inside me, all my, like these baggages that I had were just emptying out, coming out, you know? And that was my journey, and it all kind of started from there, you know? Ever since then, you know, I was just looking for that flavor of Simran, you know? So, you know, going back to your question, I know Virji answered it perfectly. I'll just say, you know, this is my advice to everyone and to myself as well. Just do as much as you can. The more you do, the more you will experience. Now, there's a question here. Anji.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's like this. It's who made Hindu and how do we talk, and who thought of it, the idea
Of Hindu?
for the language.
Oh, Hindi. Hindi is a language. Hindu is a person who follows the Hinduism faith.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which one would you like to ask?
Who invented talking?
Talking to the language, Hindi.
Yes.
Okay, I'm probably not the person to go for this question, but my guess would be that if the region east of the Indus River, you know, there's a few theories that the east of the Indus River became Hindus, you know, and thus a language was formed over many years. Do you have your hand up? Were you going to say something? Yes.
One question, follow-on question. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲੇ ਉੱਠਣਾ ਹੈ, ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲੇ ਦੀ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਨਰਾਈਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸੀਫਿਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਬਿਫੋਰ ਸਨਰਾਈਜ਼?
Traditionally, it's just it's our whole system is based off the sun. Even the rags and the musical scales it's based off the sun. So it's not really based off of our understanding of 24 hours. It's based off how the sun works. So Amrit Vela is traditionally maintained to be 2.5 hours before sunrise. So that changes per season.
Waheguru ji Khalsa, Waheguru ji ki Fateh ਵੀਰ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਹੁਣੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਪ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੰਜੂ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਬੈਗੇਜ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮਤਲਬ ਲਾਈਟ ਬਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਟ ਫੀਲ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕੀਤਾ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਬਾਣੀ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ 'ਚ ਹੰਝੂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਿਰਫ ਹੰਝੂ ਨੇ। ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਟ ਫੀਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੇ। ਤੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਨਰਲੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਆਦਮੀ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਰੋਂਦਾ ਵੇ, ਜਾਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਰੋਂਦਾ ਵੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਕੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੇਰੀ ਅੱਖਾਂ 'ਚ ਹੰਝੂ ਆਏ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕਾਮਨੈਸ ਹੈ।
That's perfect, Richi.
Yeah.
I think, you know, thinking back, that's probably what I felt as well. You know? I can only wonder why that is. You know, what is that? I can just say it, my opinion. Richi, I would love for your opinion on this too, because I know you have similar experiences. My opinion on that, Richi, and ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਗ ਹੋਰ ਵਧੀਆ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਹੋਏਗੇ ਹੋਰ ਵਧੀਆ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, but I really feel like ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੁੱਖ ਤੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁੱਖ ਔਰ ਦੁੱਖ ਚ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘੁੰਮ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਥਿਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ that is the center ਜੀ ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ। ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਨੁਭਵ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸੁੱਖ ਤੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਬੁਰਾ ਤੇ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਾਲਾ ਤੇ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ।
Who invented Simran?
Who invented Simran? Like the idea of meditating on God, remembering God.
Yes.
Well, in Gurbani it talks about Simran. So for us, the Gurus invented Simran, but you know, it's the idea of remembering God. You know, Simran literally translates into remembrance. That's what the word Simran translates into. You know, and we have different modes of how we execute remembrance. You know, for some of us that might be kirtan, for some of us that might be like closing your eyes and chantings, for some of us it might be working, it could be anything. How do we remember God? It's such a subjective thing, you know. And so who invented remembering God? You know, I think God himself.
I think you invent Simran. Yeah. If you don't do it, it dies. If you do it, it lives. So anytime you do it, you invent it. So if you don't do it, it's going to go away. Keep doing it.
It was kind of related to like whenever you were crying. So the day I took Amrit, they like splashed the Amrit in my eyes. I woke up one night. It felt like I was crying, but I wasn't. It felt like all the ego was coming out and stuff, like out of my eyes, and the Amrit was going in. And I just had a question. I forgot it.
That's okay. Thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah, thank you. We're on the same vibe right now.
Hanji, Richi. Okay.
Waheguru ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru ji ki Fateh. Mera sawal sega bhi, you talked about how like the work we have to do to meet Waheguru ji, and you talked about how be like Simran and Naam Japna is like what you need to be doing. And then when we do Kirtan, we're reading the Bani, and that Bani is also telling us that the work we have to put in is doing Naam Japna. So then why are we singing the Bani instead of like, what is the point of the Bani if it's just in the end telling us to do Naam Japna?
Okay, so there's more to Gurbani than just Naam Japna. I'll just point that out. Sometimes we like, for example, that Shabad we just went through, right? Rakha ek hamara Swami, Sagal ka Tanka Antarjami. The whole thing there was when I've understood this concept that my creator, my guru is my sole protector, then I was in peace. That was the concept there. And many Shabads will echo different versions of like different formats, different concepts. Like it's not all just Naam Japna. Okay, that's how we simplify Sikhi. But that's not like, if you were to go through each Ang, if you go through each Shabad, you will not. So I just want to make sure that's clear. Okay. Second thing is Gurbani is not just like a flashlight that you can use to shine on the path, to tell you where to go. Gurbani is also the path. Is Bani mein har naam paeda. From Gurbani you can receive naam. From Gurbani you can receive the connection to Waheguru. From Gurbani you can receive love. From Gurbani you can receive contentment. From Gurbani you can receive humility. By reading Gurbani, not only it's not just a rule book. It's not a rule book at all. Okay? It's not that. It's the language of love. It's your inner soul's music. It's so much. When you engage in Gurbani, you are walking on the path, just as much as you would be by chanting away. Okay, or just as much as you would be by doing Seva and the Guru, just as much as you would be. It's all about the intention behind what you do.
I think I have a bit to add to that. Naam, the mool arth je kadna, naam mein, when there is no I. You can do that through chanting Waheguru, the Gur Mantra. You can do that through reading Gurbani is also naam. How you carry your lifestyle is also naam. You can chant naam, you can live naam. Naam has many different ways for you to interact with it. But the goal of it is letting go of yourself. That's where selfless service, being a good human, all of those create the base. Mool Mantar, Bani, Kirtan, they create your ability to do more Naam. If I told you now, just go sit down and do Naam Simran for 4 hours, it would be almost impossible. But if I said, hey, go feed the homeless for an hour, and then after that, sing Kirtan for an hour, and then after that, do Naam Simran for an hour. Now you'd be able to achieve it, but guess what? You spent that whole time doing Naam. Does that answer your question, Benji? Yeah?
Mamma mansyo kaj hai man sadde siddh hoye. But Kabirji says your only purpose in life is to reform your mind. Reforming your mind is akin to getting closer to God. Akin means same. Reforming your mind, if I were to look, the idea of willpower, Virji touched upon willpower. Okay? Willpower is when you increase your willpower to fight off your bad habits, when you've increased your willpower to fight off, slandering others, cursing others, whatever it may be that you have, we all have some type of bad habits, right? Whatever that is akin to getting closer to God. Mamma mansyo kaj hai man sadde siddh hoye. If you were to reform your mind, you're going towards succession. So Naam Japna is not just chanting away. Naam Japna is to understand that you have to reform your mind. It's a very active process because people were already chanting away. If Sikhi is just chanting, there was already a bunch of other communities out there chanting. And again, Gurbani does criticize the act of chanting without faith. Gurbani does criticize the act of chanting without love. I just wanted to throw that in there.
But there is no, you have to jap naam as well. To clarify, don't take what he's saying the wrong way. What he's saying is just doing it faithlessly and being okay, why isn't the light turning on? Instead, it's you do all those other deeds, but you have to do Naam Simran as well.
It's part of our discipline.
It's part of it, yeah.
At least 5 minutes. Bhagavad Gita says, ek kadi, adi hute ad. Which ek kadi translates to, in the scholarly world, 24 minutes. Half of 24 minutes, 12 minutes. Half of 12 minutes, 6 minutes. Bhagavad Gita says that try doing 24 minutes of Simran, of Bhakti. Can't do 24 minutes, do 12, do half of that. Can't do that, do at least 6. Which usually we say 5 minutes, right? Around down. So just as that is part of our discipline as the Khalsa. Our Panjabani is there, our Panjakakas are there, and then at least a few minutes of Simran.
Thank you. You already answered my question. My question was that basically ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਇਆ ਰੂਪੀ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਡੁਅਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਮਾਇਆ ਰੂਪੀ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਮਾਇਆ ਉੱਤੇ ਨਿਰਲੇਪ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਲ ਕੇਂਦਰਿਤ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਔਰ ਭਾਵ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਿਰਲੇਪ ਰੱਖੇਗੀ ਮਾਇਆ ਤੋਂ।
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ।
How did Guru Nanak Dev Ji find out he was God?
That's all you.
There's a Shabad by Guru Nanak Dev Ji that talk about this. I'll pull it up. Hon Tadi Bekar Kare Laya. Thank you. Okay, this is a Shabad by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. You're going to read it. So this is their own. The thing about Gurbani you need to understand is this is the Guru's own words. Like, dude, that is phenomenal. You will not. When you find the words of a leader, the words of a philosopher or something, it's magnificent for people sitting there, because now you can get insight to the brain of that person. We have the insight to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who Guru Nanak Dev Ji was. They say in their own Bani, Hon Tadi Vekar Kare Laya. I was a Tadi. Tadi means I was a singer. I sang, I wanted to sing the praises of God, that's who I was. But I was Vekar, I had no work. I had no work. But then, the Akal Purkh Waheguru gave me work. Who made Guru Nanak Dev Ji God? God Himself. God Himself called Guru Nanak Dev Ji to their mahal, to their mansion, and gave them a job. Okay, and we're going to go through what that job is. Raat teh ke var turoh farmaya. Maine turoh farmaya Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji ne ke raat din Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji de gun gaane hai. God Himself ordered me to go out into the world, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji in their biography say something very similar. Say the exact same thing. That they ordered me to go into this world and to sing the praises of Akal Purkh Waheguru. Tadi Sacha Mahal Khasam Balaya. This Tadi, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the singer, right? The Sacha Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji called me to his mansion. Sache Sift Salaha Kapda Paya, and gave me the clothes of praise. Gave me the clothes of true praise. Sacha Amrit Naam Bhojan Aya. Then they gave me Amrit. They gave me Naam. And these are the things that we have today. Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought those from Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji into this world. Gurmati Khada Raj Bin Sukh Paya. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that I've taken Gurmat, I've taken the intellect I've taken this wisdom from Akal Purkh Waheguru. This Bani that we read is from Waheguru, direct. And Khada Raj, when I ate this Gurmat, when I ate this wisdom, Mainu Raj ho gaya. Mainu Santokh mil gaya. Mainu Tripti aa gayi. You know, when we go and eat a lot, banda, you're full, but you're not rajya hoya yet. When dessert comes out, we eat the dessert. There's still space for dessert, right? We still eat the dessert. When dessert's done, then your mom comes out like, Putt, kuch hor shakinga? You're like, Mom, hon nahi. Hon main raj gaya. Hon jagah nahi hegi, main nakka nak bhar gaya, main tripta ho gaya ya. Main trapya gaya. These are all different words I'm using to explain the same concept. Main hon raj gaya. Gurmati khada raj. Maajid main gurmat kha ke main raj gaya. Tin sukh paya. Uthon mainu sukh milya. I've got happiness from Gurmati. And this is the same Gurmat here. Guru Nanak Dev Ji took Gurmat from an untangible source. Untangible, understand? You can understand that vocabulary word? It's a SAT word, okay? Untangible means that something you cannot understand. Like, I can understand this mic. It has a cylinder shape. It has electricity. It has a lot of other things happening to this, right? I can understand this. But I cannot understand God. It's untangible. I don't know. I can't. It's not. Guru Nanak Dev Ji took what they received from God, untangible things, Amrit Naam, Gurmat, all these different things, Sif Salaha, and they extracted it and put into Gurmukhi Lippi right in front of our eyes. Akho Satanam Sri. That's who Gurbani is. That's what Guru Granth says. That's what the words of the Guru are. Now, Tadi Kare Pasao, Sabad Vajaya. Now, what does Tadi do? What does Guru Nanak Dev Ji do? They go throughout the whole world singing the praises of God. That's what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did. Nanak Sat Salaha Pura Paya. Maharaj says, I received complete perfection through singing the praises of God. Did I answer your question? Yeah, okay.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I had a question, how do you take like the meanings of a Shabad and like get something to implement in your life to make you like better and more on the Guru's path.
Okay, I feel like I'm talking away at you guys, and Reggie's not getting any chance to talk.
I love it.
Okay. How do you take Gurbani and apply it to your lives? Was that the question? Am I rephrasing it correctly? How do you apply? Okay, this is how you apply Gurbani to your lives. Okay, I apply Gurbani to my lives every single moment I walk. How? I trust that every single step I'm taking is in the will of my Guru. If it's not in the will of the Guru, I want the Guru to slap me. And I have full bharosa he will slap me if I do something wrong. You know, I have full bharosa he will. And I'm looking for that slap because I want to know when I'm wrong. I really do. When I was moving to Texas, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, I've been brought up in New York. 29 years of my life, I was brought up in New York. I was 2.5 years old when I migrated from India to New York City. And 29 years, I lived there my whole life. My wife lived there for her own life as well. And recently, quite recently, 9 months ago, we made the decision to come to Texas. How did that happen? That happened through Gurbani. I'll explain how. We were at a situation in our life, Riji knows, where I was doing prachar for a few years, but I was at a crossroad. I had to either pick up my family business or I can do prachar. I couldn't choose. I couldn't do both. The situation was as such. I had to make a choice, and prachar was my passion. You know, coming here, talking to you guys is my passion. I was working as an engineer for about 10 years before this. And when I came to that crossroad, I asked myself, what do I want in my life? Do I want to go into this business, or do I want to do prachar? And the answer was I want to do prachar. And I knew that since day one. When I met my wife, the first and only condition I told her was that I want to do prachar. Are you okay with this? You know? And she said yes. She didn't know what she was getting herself into. But then, when I was at the crossroad, I realized, Maharaj Kripa, everything went through, the prachar was working out. I had to change locations because New York was not going to afford the prachar lifestyle. Okay? And so I had to make a decision, I had to move. And he said, Das Maharaj, where do I move? I first did all the calculations, looked at Indiana, Georgia, I looked at all the different states, I'm like, okay, this is the math, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, Maharaj, these are all the options in front of me, where do I move? You have to teach me, you have to show me. One night, when I was in this ardas in my head as I was walking, and it wasn't a formal ardas, it was just ardas just playing in my head. I was right next to my wife, we were walking home, and I did the ardas, Satya Manna, like, Maharaj, please explain, where do I go? I looked to my left, and on that exact moment, there was a car with a license plate, and it said, Texas. And I looked at the license plate, I looked at my wife, and I was like, maybe this is a sign, you know? And she's like, Jadu da, and be like, like, you make all these things up all the time, right? Randy, you pracharics, right? And I went home, you know, and I have this sabah, and from day one, me and my wife both, before making any life decision, we do ardas, we take Hukamnama. We both did ardas together, like, Maharaj, was that sign your command? Was that where you want me to go? I did ardas, Hukamnama, the Hukamnama was like, it was so beautiful, and I saved this Hukamnama, and it was talking about searching for your home, searching for that house, searching for that village. And I believe it took two Hukamnamas that day. The first Hukamnama was about Nagar Guru Gobind ka. Ab Chal Nagar Guru Gobind. That was the Shabad that came up. That was the first Hukamnama. Ab Chal Nagar Guru Gobind ka. I was like, which means that this is the unmoving home of God, you know. And also Hajur Sahib is also called Abchar anyway, by that chance as well. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. You know, Texas is got a really good Hukamnama. Then we gave a call to a family we knew in Houston. We said, hey, how do you like Houston? He's been there for a few years. He's like, we like it. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna come down this weekend. He's like, whoa, for what? I'm like, I'm thinking of moving there. He's like, wait, why? Anyways, we came, we looked at a few houses, we took another Hukamnama, and Maharaj guided us to our house. Long story short, my basic point was, how do I apply Gurbani to my everyday life? I apply it as a mental GPS. I believe Gurbani is there in my heart in every single moment. I believe Gurbani is here with me right now. I always ask for support. Hey Guru Sahib, and again, like Bhai Sahib said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Gurbani are one. Hey Guru Sahib, Kripa Karo, just guide me. In my words, in my thoughts, in my eyes, in my ears, everything. You take control. I don't want to be in control. That was my ardas from a long time ago. So that's how I apply Gurbani. Physically, through the form of hukamname. Mentally, through the form of a guiding GPS.
Does that help? You got your answer?
My question was, did humans create Maya or did God create Maya?
God created Maya.
And why?
What is Maya?
Kam, Krodh, Logh, like the five, and
That would be the Vakars. That's why I asked. Maya is the entire illusion. Just everything around you. The carpet is Maya.
Okay.
That mic is Maya. Your body is Maya. Maya is anything that's inside of this game. Ik means there was one. Onkar means then from that one began creation. Maharaj created Maya, told Maya, all right, go, create the illusion, create karam, taram, everything that comes inside of this game. And then we play. So God created it. Did you say why?
yeah.
Just to have some fun. Genuinely. I remember I asked someone that once, and then he laughed and he was like, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, khedna chaਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ khedna pe. There's nothing else to it. Sometimes the answers are really simple.
I want to jump into this. I like what you said there. Did humans create Maya or did Waheguru create Maya? You know, and Gurbani takes a twist at this narrative, and Gurbani takes a twist at everything. You know, that's the cool thing about Gurbani. It's not what you would expect. You know, like the world is arguing here, like, oh, should we do this or just not? Should we eat meat? Should we not? Oh, and the Gurbani speaks from here. Like it's like a whole new dimension. And it's just like, you know, even as Sikhs, I feel like we fall into that argument here. But Gurbani is speaking here, you know? And I like that question because I feel like it's, when Gurbani talks about Kaljug, you know, and there's two different narrations that the Guru takes for Kaljug. And I'll apply it to the question of Maya. Typically in the Indic version of understanding what Kaljug is, it's an age, right? It's a dark age, right? If you guys ever heard of Kaljug. The Guru takes a different approach. They said, Kaljug is that time when I'm separated from the Guru. That was one definition they put for Kaljug. Kaljug is that time when I'm separated from the Guru. Without the Guru, I'm in Kaljug. If I'm at the Guru, I'm alright. Whatever this is the age of peace, this is the age of happiness. The next approach to take to the question is that they question what is Kaljug. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Shabad, I don't have it memorized. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Shabad says, Kaljug doesn't have horns. Where does Kaljug sit? How can you find Kaljug? And then he goes and Kaljug is an intent in the people's minds. That's what he defines Kaljug. In that Shabad, he defines Kaljug as an intent in people's minds. And effectively always defining the devil to be your bad desires that you have. And that's why I said reforming your mind is akin to getting closer to God. Now, this really good question. I would say that we create Maya with understanding the conversation of Kaljug. I'm just using the logic of flipping that over to this concept. We create Maya. How do we create Maya? By going away from the Guru. By falling into this illusion that this is sweeter than the Guru. By falling into an illusion that this will give me sukh, you know, that this what I'm watching, whatever, and you guys are young, so I don't have to mention this, but when you get older, you will be combating lust. You'll be combating this form of accessing lust from your phones, from your laptops, from your computers. Maya is when you choose to engage with that, thinking that this will give me happiness. Maya is when you choose to engage with stealing from someone. Maya is when you choose to engage of hurting someone, thinking it will bring you happiness. But all that will do is put you in a more deeper and darker pit of that illusion. So I would agree with you. If that was what you're trying to aim for, I would agree that we create Maya.
We sustain Maya.
To add on to what you guys said, I was reading this book. It was like Bhai Mardanaji woke up. he had an illusion of seeing Kaljug like a deep red dark figure with horns. He woke Guru Nanak Sahib Ji up. He's like, Guru Nanak Guru Nanak Sahib Ji.
Speak now.
Guru-
You are not audible.
Okay. Guru Nanak Sahib Ji, Guru Nanak Sahib Ji, help me. And he was like, just do Naam Simran, you'll be okay. Then the illusion went away. And my question was, like, why is the universe created? Why is everything created? Why is 2BC created? Why is like the ocean created? Why is everything created?
To solve the puzzle. It's a mystery. I'm still figuring it out, and I would love for you to figure it out as well.
So my question is, साडा गुरु मंत्र वाहेगुरु क्यों है? Why is it not something else like एक ओंकार क्यों नहीं है या ओंग क्यों नहीं है? Why Guru Nanak Dev Ji chose this Guru mantra to call God? And what does it actually mean?
Okay, very good. Very good question. I will just give you my personal understanding. I think Virji will give you his thoughts as well. The word Waheguru, and this is the kind of same subject of understanding Gurbani as well. We as Sikhs are always trying to understand Gurbani. What I mean by that is this, right? Guru Granth Sahib Ji's inception, when Guru Granth Sahib Ji was created by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, right? All the writings of other previous gurus, Guru Granth Sahib Ji is created, right? And then later on, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj gives Guru Takati, right? All that kind of stuff happens. Now, from that day forward, or during the inception of Gurbani, there was only one person that was given the keys to Gurbani to understand what Gurbani was. And that was by Gurdas Ji. Virji will go into a word that describes what Waheguru is. He was the first pioneer in the field of pracharak. He was the first pracharak essentially. What is a pracharak? A pracharak is, I always struggle to find the English equivalent to the word pracharak. It's very hard because the word pracharak is not just one person who comes on the stage and does katha. He does katha, but the pracharak has to do research. The pracharak has to be involved in seva. The pracharak has to be involved in so many different type of fields. It's a whole rounded thing. Anyways, he was the first pracharak. Now, since then, that was this level. Right, the Guru's understanding of Gurbani, obviously, because they're creating Gurbani by Gurdas Ji and the contemporary Guru. Since then, we are the normal people are here. We have to break the bondages of culture, break the bondages of language, break the bondages of everything that we are holding us down to understand what Gurbani is saying. The same goes for the Guru Mantra Waheguru. There's been so many books to explain people's understandings of why Waheguru and what the word means. There's heavy big books as well. I've seen. There's books in Sanskrit. I've seen. There's books in Braj. I've seen. There's so much out there. But what I'm trying to get at is it's just everyone's understanding of what it means. So I'm not gonna try to say I do understand what word Waheguru means. I don't. And just looking at the different sources out there, what I've kind of felt, and I really resonate with this feeling, is that it's a emotional experience that the word encompasses. It's not just a word for God. Yes, the word Vahe in Arabic means the one. Guru in Sanskrit means darkness to light. The one who brings you from darkness to light. Yes, it has a physical meaning that you can bring from the etymology of the world and word, and there's more to it. But I think more than that, it's for me, it's an expression. Wow. Like it's something that you're by Gurdwara Singh always used to say it. The word wow, it's like wow, like something jotano a jump of dinda, like something that shocks you, something that gives you like excitement. Wow, And then what gives me excitement? Guru, my Guru does. So that's what I want to share with you, Benji.
I wasn't going to go over Bhai Gurdas Ji's Var, but Bhai Gurdas Ji's Var, Bhai Gurdas Ji's Var goes over the definition of Waheguru and how each, like Va, He, Gu, and Ru are different names for different avatars in the different yugs, right? But I was going to go over Guru Gobind Singh Ji's writing in Sarvlo Granth, where they say ki Sar Mantra Charon Ka Sar. That those 4 mantras that Bhai Gurdas Ji is talking about, we went through and, we ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦ੍ਰਿੜ ਕੀਤਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਤਰ ਨਿਰਤਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਚੋਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕੱਢਿਆ Kalap, so sar is when you take like an iron and you beat it and you take all the extra off, right? So that's what they did with the mantra. Waheguru mantra nirtar, Waheguru mantra kadya. Kalap prat akachhar kehi. Kalap is like 1,000 yugs. So they say a couple thousand yugs, we just did job of this. Os mantra nu drid karna. So there's a philosophy. Whenever someone starts their own panth, their own path, they put their bhakti, their shakti into that mantra. For us, that's Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and they're saying ki inna takada hai main mantra tanu de raha ha. Sri Guru Nanak japyo sahi, ki Guru Nanak Dev Ji ne bhi eda hi jap kita. Nij atam parmatam darsyo, char kalap mein mantra sarsyo. Char varn, like onne char varn ek kite, char jugan da ek mantra kita. So kind of the same guideline. I'm kind of going fast through it. Sa mantra prabh khalsa dina. Pher he main mantra khalsa nu de dita. Waheguru pad pavan kina. O Waheguru mantra nu us padvi te rakh ke khalsa nu sompta. So I think Guru Gobind Singh Ji kind of talks about, I guess, more like how they gave the mantra, why they gave the mantra. Whereas Mool Mantra is like our jada. And I feel like when you do Mool Mantra jap, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਅਰਥ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਰਥ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੇਸ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਇੰਨਾ ਤਕੜਾ ਮੰਤਰ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਭ ਕਰਨੀ ਉਹ ਬੇਸ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਦਾ ਜਾਪ ਕਰੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਆਪਦੀ ਰੂਟਸ ਹੋਰ ਤਕੜੇ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਤਰ ਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਪ ਕਰੀਦਾ ਉਸ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਪੀਣ ਲਈ
The Mool Mantra is almost like the Rosetta Stone. That makes sense. Like, anyone know? Does it know what the Rosetta Stone is? Oh no, everyone's good.
I don't.
Oh,
yeah.
So in Egypt, when they found the hieroglyphics on the stones, right? They didn't know how to read those. There's such an old script, right? So apparently 5,000 years old. They found a Rosetta Stone. A Rosetta Stone had 3 languages on the stone, and it basically explained how to read each script from a more up-to-date language. So it was like a community came later. They made like a little alphabet to explain in their language how to read the hieroglyphics, and then a community came later and they wrote in their language how to explain that language before them. So when they had the Rosetta Stone, they knew the most recent language. From there, they were able to understand the hieroglyphics. The Mool Mantra is our Rosetta Stone. What that means is that we can use it to understand all of Gurbani. All of Gurbani has to sit on, like Viji said, he said it in a very spiritual way. It was beautiful. And I'm just going to explain that logically. All of Gurbani will sit on the Mool Mantra, like this. And if we were to look at another philosophy, let's look at the Indic philosophy, look at the Abrahamic, whatever we want to look at, any philosophy, we're going to weigh it against the Mool Mantra. Does it fit with the Guru's philosophy, or does it not? Guru Nanak Dev Ji said that God is nirpo. Does this philosophy work? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You know what I mean? This is who the Guru was, Guru Mool Mantra. I think Vijay in the back, you had a question, Vijay? Wow, everyone turned around. That makes it so suspenseful.
Add a question, or I would say complemented by saying that I read a book where somebody was explaining, another philosopher, he said that Bhai Gurdas Ji's War says Waheguru Gur Mantra hai jap hum mein khoi. So there he was referring to that Waheguru is sanket vachak towards God. So, and the Gur Mantra is the whole of Gurbani. So and the jap means that you have to live the life. Like you were telling earlier, jap is not chanting, jap is not meditation, jap is living the life as per the values of Gurbani, right? So when your aim is God, Waheguru Gurmantra hai, the God is in Gurbani, and when you jap of the Gurbani, that means when you live your life as per Gurbani, then your ego leaves. That is what I wanted to complement your thoughts with, or ask you, do you think that this is also an acceptable meaning, that to reach God you have to live the life as per Gurbani, where it means that you have to you not only have to read Gurbani, memorize Gurbani, but also live as per Gurbani. Then only the home leaves, then only the Naam can come and reside within your man, because your Atma is always in touch with Waheguru, right? Atma Ram di Ansh hai. So the Atma knows how to reach God, but your man tu Jot Swarup hai. So when man reaches the level of Atma, because we are living out of our mind, right? So that was the whole context I wanted to ask you. Are you aligned, or you think this philosophy or this thought process is too vague or tangent to what you're telling?
I have a clarifying question. In that entire wave, are you saying that chanting is not included, or is also included?
So chanting is a part where you मन ਨੂੰ ਇਕਾਗਰ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕਾ. ਮੈਡੀਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਇਜ਼ ਵੇ, ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਮਨ ਇਕਾਗਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੰਦਰਮੁਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ. That is a process. Physical chanting is a process to do Simran. Physical chanting is not Simran. Simran is remembrance. But ਮਨ ਇਕਾਗਰ, ਇੱਕ ਮਨ ਇੱਕ ਚਿੱਤ ਧਿਆਏ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਮਨ ਇੱਕ ਚਿੱਤ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ this is a very good tool. Chanting is a tool which I am not against, or nobody should be against. It is one of the transcendental. Chanting is transcendental meditation. जब तुम meditation ते search करोगे, there are 6-7 major types of meditations. Transcendental meditation, which chanting is the method. That method is to be used. It's a tool to मन ਨੂੰ ਇਕਾਗਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ, so that we can focus on Gurbani and be in the mode of remembrance. That is where I was trying to understand. क्योंकि Guru is not saying कि एक अक्षर, word is just a doorway or a door to the path, right? Sikhi is the path itself. अक्षर किसी वास्ते राम हो सकता है, किसी वास्ते अल्लाह हो सकता है. गुरु साहब ने ये नहीं कहा कि ਤੁਹਾਡਾ अक्षर माड़ा है तो मेरा अक्षर ਬੈਟਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਅੱਖਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਏਗਾ. ਅੱਖਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈ ਐਮ ਨਾਟ ਰਿਕਾਲਿੰਗ ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ, ਜਦ ਇਹ ਅੱਖਰ ਵੀ ਥਿਰ ਜਾਏਂਗੇ. ਸੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਥ ਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਖਰ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈ, ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਵੇਅਰ ਯੂ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ, ਵਿੱਚ ਬੱਚਾ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ. ਬਟ ਆਈ ਐਮ ਟਰਾਈਂਗ ਟੂ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ what you're trying to explain to us all is on a line that the akhar is just a starting point, but reaching and doing remembrance of God is more critical. Living Gurbani is which meditating on God, reading Gurbani, learning Gurbani, understanding Gurbani, all are part of that whole process.
Thank you, Riji. From my subjective experience of life, and Sikhi, I'm trying to look back, and I see when I started, there was some, like, even though today my journey of Sikhi, it is what it is. When it started, and even today, there's still a big aspect of that. There was something that I could not fundamentally explain, and I was talking about tangible and non-tangible, and I said, like, Guru Sahib took something that's non-tangible and made it tangible. There was something I could not explain, and I think for me, one thing that I cannot explain till this very day is the feeling that you feel when your eyes are closed, and or if you, for me, just my subjective experience of meditating or chanting, whatever it is, it's like that experience, like what we were doing, that 2-3 minutes of you feel. I don't, maybe I don't feel it all the time, but you feel in certain places more than others. Sometimes you feel with certain people more than others. There's something there for me that's just not tangible, So that part I cannot explain. Everything else you said, Virji, I'm on board. I like I said, reforming your mind, everything like that, remembrance, so that I'm all on board with that. But there is an aspect for me within chanting or that's unexplainable for me personally. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and also, for that question. We do have very few minutes left. I think our quota was 8 p.m. and we want to be respectful of the Gurdwara's time, and they want to do such kind of sukhas and everything. So let's take. What do you say? Do you want a question, Lord?
I think Benji has a question. Go ahead, Benji.
Why do atheists not believe in God?
Okay. Why do atheists not believe in God? I think there's, this is going to sound wild. I don't think there's such thing as not believing in God. I think that even if someone says they don't believe in God, they still believe in a version of existence. And when we cage God into being a being, like you're a separate entity, we have misunderstood what God is. So if someone isn't, I don't believe God, it's like not believing in existence, right? That's one answer. I think a simpler answer from that is karma. Maharaj kende ki jinu main raat te pauna, jan jinu main todna, main aap karna. So Guru Sahib decides themselves. And then I think an even simpler answer than that is sometimes people are so hurt from what's happened in their life that they can't reconcile that a higher being did that to them. And so they choose to not believe in that being. And that is someone's pain. I hope that I never falter and fall to that, but it's completely understandable why someone, when they're experiencing deep pain, would feel like there is no one there to help me and therefore they don't exist.
I just want to point out, because
she said, why do atheists not believe in God? Okay. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Viti, for that clarification. I just want to say the schedule for tomorrow. So tomorrow, Sunday, the 8th. The 8th of, I'm looking at the old poster, I think. The 8th of September. Yeah, okay, cool. So there's going to be Sukhmani Sab at 10:15 a.m. tomorrow. Then there will be Gurbani Kirtan and Katha at 11:45 a.m. all the way until 1 p.m., which will be Bhog. And then after that, Viti, will we have time for a Q&A again? Or impromptu? Okay. They wrap it up?
We can do it in the Langar Hall. Yeah.
Okay, maybe in the Langar Hall, we'll do an impromptu Q&A again. We'll carry the conversation forward from tomorrow. From myself and Viji, anything else, Viji, before we head out?
Keep searching. Keep searching. I don't think we have all the answers. We can only share our experience. We could be very wrong. And we're okay with being wrong. We are also just trying to hunt down answers and find our own way to God.
Absolutely agree. And I just want to say thank you, Dalis Sangat, for having us today. We had a great time with you all. And Jay Sardeko ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਗਲਤੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨਾ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਭਰਾ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੈਗਾ। we're your children, ਤੇ please consider us so and feel free to guide us as well. And with that we'll ask for your sisa and do Fateh. After Fateh we'll do Anand Sahib and then there will be Kirtan Soila and Sukhasim. Okay ji. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਰਾਮ ਕਲੀ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਤੀਜਾ। ਆਨੰਦ ਏਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਆਨੰਦ ਪਿਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਏ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਇਆ।
ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਤਾ ਪਾਇਆ ਸਹਿਜ ਸੇਤੀ ਮਨ ਵਜੀਆਂ ਵਾਧਾਈਆਂ।
ਰਾਗ ਰਤਨ ਪਰਵਾਰ ਪਰੀਆਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗਾਵਨ ਆਈਆਂ।
ਸਬਦੋ ਤਾ ਗਾਵੋ ਹਰੀ ਕੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਜਨੀ ਵਸਾਇਆ।
ਕਹਿ ਨਾਨਕ ਆਨੰਦ ਹੋਆ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਇਆ।
ਏ ਮਨ ਮੇਰਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਸਦਾ ਰਹੋ ਹਰ ਨਾਲੇ।
ਹਰ ਨਾਲ ਰਹੋ ਤੂੰ ਮਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਦੁਖ ਸਭ ਵਿਸਾਰਨਾ।
ਅੰਗੀਕਾਰੋ ਕਰੇ ਤੇਰਾ ਕਾਰਜ ਸਭ ਸਵਾਰਨਾ।
ਨਾ ਗਲਾ ਸਮਰੱਥ ਸੁਆਮੀ ਸੋ ਕਿਉ ਮਨੋ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ।
ਕਹੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਮਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਦਾ ਨਾਲੇ।
ਸਾਚੇ ਸਾਹਿਬਾ ਕਿਆ ਨਾਹੀ ਕਰ ਤੇਰਾ। ਸਦਾ ਸਿਫਤ ਸਲਾਹ ਤੇਰੀ ਨਾਮ ਮਨ ਵਸਾਵੇ।
ਨਾਮ ਜਿਨ ਕੇ ਮਨ ਵਸਿਆ ਵਾਜੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕਨੇਰੇ।
ਕਹਿ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਤੇਰਾ।
ਸਾਚਾ ਨਾਮ ਮੇਰਾ ਆਧਾਰੋ।
ਸਾਚ ਨਾਮ ਆਧਾਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਨ ਭੁੱਖਾ ਸਭ ਗਵਾਈਆਂ।
ਕਰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਸੁਖ ਮਨ ਆਏ ਵਸਿਆ ਜਿਨ ਇੱਛਾ ਸਭ ਪੁਜਾਈਆ।
ਸਦਾ ਕੁਰਬਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਵਿਟੋ ਜਿਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਇਹ ਵਡਿਆਈਆਂ।
ਕਹਿ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੁਣੋ ਸੰਤੋ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਤਰੋ ਪਿਆਰੋ।
ਸਾਚਾ ਨਾਮ ਮੇਰਾ ਆਧਾਰੋ ਵਾਜੇ ਪੰਜ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਤਿਤ ਘਰ ਸਭਾਗੈ। ਘਰ ਸਭਾਗੈ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਾਜੇ ਕਲਾ ਚਿਤ ਕਰ ਧਾਰਿਆ। ਤੋਰ ਕਰਮ ਪਾਇਆ ਤੁਝ ਜਿਨ ਕੋ ਸੇ ਨਾਮ ਹਰ ਕੈ ਲਾਗੇ।
ਨਾਨਕ ਤੈ ਸੁਖ ਹੋਆ ਤਿਤ ਕਰ ਅਨਹਦ ਵਾਜੇ।
ਅਨੰਦ ਸੁਨੋ ਵਡ